Okay, let's dive in. You shared some really fantastic source material with us, mainly digging into the ideas from James Clear's Atomic Habits.
Right.
So, our mission today really is to cut through all the noise, pull out the absolute core insights from that source material,
Mm.
and give you a kind of shortcut to understanding how these incredibly small changes, things you do every day, can actually lead to genuinely remarkable results long term.
Yeah, powerful idea.
The big idea right up front seems to be that major success. It isn't usually about these massive sudden leaps, you know?
No, not at all.
It's more the simple compounding product of what you do every single day.
That's such a critical distinction the source makes, isn't it? It totally reframes how you think about change.
Right.
Instead of just chasing one big outcome, you're essentially, well, reprogramming your daily operating system, just one tiny upgrade at a time.
Uh-huh.
So we're going to unpack the most important levers for that change, based on this material, so
Mhm.
you can start thinking about how to apply it, maybe right away.
Okay, good. So let's start with the why. Why do these seemingly small daily actions matter so much? Why are habits such a big deal, according to this source?
Well, one of the most, I think, powerful concepts presented is that your outcomes, they aren't just random events. They are actually lagging measures of your habits.
Lagging measures.
Now think about it. Your net worth, right?
Hmm.
It isn't really determined by one big bonus check. It's a lagging measure of your financial habits over years.
Okay. Like saving, spending.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How consistently you save, invest, spend wisely, your physical fitness or your weight, that's a direct result of your daily eating and exercise habits.
Yeah, makes sense.
The depth of your knowledge is a lagging measure of your learning habits. Even like the clutter in your house reflects your cleaning habits. The fundamental principle is just you get what you repeat.
You get what you repeat. Simple, but wow, yeah, profound. And the source really hammers home that the results of these repetitions, especially like when you're just starting out, they can feel tiny.
Oh, absolutely minuscule.
You might only make a tiny 1% improvement, and you definitely won't see a huge difference tomorrow, maybe not even next month, which I imagine can be incredibly
You
frustrating.
really can be. Because we want results now. But that's where the compounding effect comes in, which the source illustrates so well.
Right, the 1% idea.
Yeah, those
Uh,
tiny 1% improvements, they don't just add up linearly, they multiply over time. It's
Hmm?
kind of like compound interest in investing.
Right.
The real growth happens years down the line, not in the first few weeks or months.
Can you give us a couple of those really small, almost ridiculously simple examples from the source, the kind that end up having this huge payoff later?
Sure. Uh, think about just consistently drinking a bit more water through the day. Simple.
Okay.
Or dedicating just, say, 30 minutes to reading or drawing or maybe practicing an instrument.
Just half an hour?
Yeah. Making small, regular savings transfers instead of waiting for some large sum you might never get. Or doing just 10 push-ups every morning. None of these feel like a revolution on their own, right? But done daily, weekly, monthly, they create massive shifts over years.
Mm.
It's all about focusing on that daily process, not just the distant event or goal.
Okay, now here's where, for me, it gets really interesting because the source doesn't just talk about what you do, but it goes deeper into who you become.
Yes.
It suggests the most profound change happens when you shift your focus to your identity.
This is a core shift in thinking, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
The material argues that, well, true habit change isn't just about achieving a specific goal, like running a marathon. It's about embodying a certain type of person. You're not just trying to run a marathon, you're striving to become a runner.
Ah, okay, I see the difference.
The goal isn't just reading 30 books this year, it's cultivating the identity of a reader. Or it's about becoming a musician through practice, rather than solely focusing on, say, passing a specific piano exam.
And I guess if you've always sort of identified as, I don't know, not a morning person, or I'm bad with money, or I'm just not creative,
Mm-hmm.
those self-beliefs can really sabotage any efforts to change your behavior, right? They create this internal friction.
Exactly that. Your behaviors are so often just a reflection of your identity.
Hmm.
So if you change who you believe you are, or at least if you start acting like the person you want to become,
Right.
the behaviors tend to follow more naturally because now they feel aligned with your self-image. There's less resistance.
So how do you actually shift that identity? I think the source had a great line about this.
It does. It's brilliant. It basically says, do your verbs and the nouns take care of themselves.
Yeah, I like that.
Every single time you sit down to write, even for 5 minutes,
Mhm.
You're being a writer in that moment. Every time you pick up that pencil and sketch something, you're performing the actions of an artist.
You're embodying it.
Yes. Every time you go for that run, even a short one, you are reinforcing the identity of someone who runs. Your smallest daily actions are like casting votes for the type of person you want to become. You're proving it to yourself over and over.
Okay.
By consistently changing what you do every day, you literally prove your new identity into existence.
Okay. Conceptually, that makes a lot of sense. But practically, how do we actually put this into practice? This is where the source brings in James Clear's framework, right? The 4 steps to building better habits.
Exactly. This is like the user manual for reprogramming that daily operating system we mentioned.
Right.
Step 1 is make it obvious. You can't change a habit if you're not even aware of it.
True.
So the source suggests starting by just observing your current routines. Maybe grab a notebook, write them down, the good, the bad, the neutral, without any judgment. Just, become a scientist studying your own life for a couple of days. What are you actually doing on autopilot?
And once you have that awareness, how do you make a new habit obvious? How do you make it stick out so you remember to do it?
Well, the source gives a very specific, very actionable formula for this. It goes, during the next week, I will behavior on day at time in place.
Ah, being super specific.
Yes. The key here is removing ambiguity. You're not just deciding to meditate more. That's too
Mhm.
vague.
Right.
You're deciding, I will meditate on Tuesday at 7:05 a.m. in the living room. That specificity removes the mental energy of having to decide when and where each day. You've pre-decided.
Yeah, I remember the example in the source. Someone really struggled to make meditation a habit until they decided specifically, first thing in the morning, right after brushing teeth, before looking at the iPad for at least 6 minutes. That level of detail, it makes it almost undeniable.
Exactly. And that example actually leads perfectly into the next technique within Make It Obvious, which is habit stacking.
Okay, stack it.
This is about leveraging habits you already do reliably, like brushing your teeth. You link a new behavior immediately after an existing one. So meditate right after you brush your teeth.
Oh, yeah. The source has that amazing, almost intimidating example of someone stacking a whole morning routine between their first and second cup of coffee.
I know the one.
It was like reading, meditation, stretching, push-ups, gratitude, 2 glasses of water, and an hour of writing, all anchored to that coffee break.
It shows you can build a whole sequence, an empire of habits, onto just one strong anchor point.
Yeah.
And a huge part of making a habit obvious is designing your environment, making the cues visible.
Right, like putting your gym clothes out the night before.
Exactly. Or filling water bottles and leaving them on your desk or counter where you'll see them. The source mentions prepping the coffee maker right next to the writing desk,
Mm-hmm.
or putting the meditation cushion right next to the bed. You want to make the desired action the path of least resistance.
And I guess for bad habits, it's the complete opposite strategy, right? Make them invisible or really hard to access.
Precisely. Get the junk food out of the house entirely. Don't bring your phone into the bedroom at night. The source even suggests things like unplugging the TV or the gaming console and hiding the remote. Just add a little bit of friction.
Yeah, just enough to make you pause.
Those small barriers can break the automatic pattern. Which kind of leads us nicely into step 2. Make it attractive.
Okay.
Because let's face it, we're hardwired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. If a new habit feels like a total chore, it's probably not going to last very long.
True.
So the principle here is to connect the habit you need to do with something you genuinely want to do. You bundle them.
How do we actually wire that connection? Is there a formula for that too?
There is. The source provides this template. 1. After current habit, I will habit I need. And then, crucially, 2. After habit I need, I will habit I want.
Ah, okay. Like the example of going for a walk after dinner. Especially in winter, maybe that feels like effort.
Right. Could be tough.
But the rule became, okay, after dinner, we go for the walk. Only after the walk do we allow ourselves to, say, turn on the TV and get cozy in the sofa.
Exactly. So you start associating the walk, which might feel effortful initially, with the pleasant reward, the cozy TV time that immediately follows.
The walk becomes the gateway to the reward.
Precisely. The walk earns the relaxation. Now, another massive factor in making habits attractive is social influence. We are incredibly influenced by the people around us.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We tend to imitate, like, our closest friends and family, the majority group, and maybe people we admire or see as powerful or successful.
So if you want to become a reader, well, join a book club or make plans with friends who read a lot. If you want to be healthier, spend more time with people who already prioritize fitness.
Surround yourself with the behavior.
Exactly. The source highlights studying the lives and routines of people you admire. If you want to be a great artist, learn about their habits. Being in an environment where the desired behavior is just the normal thing to do, it makes it incredibly attractive.
Okay, so we have make it obvious, make it attractive. That brings us to step 3. Make it easy.
Yes, because even if you know what to do, and you even kind of want to do it if it feels too difficult or complicated, consistency goes out the window.
Yeah, friction kills habits.
Totally. The core insight here is that actions become easier with repetition. It's like building a muscle. And the source makes a really crucial point, especially for things like creative work. Early on, focus on quantity over quality.
Oh, interesting. Not perfection.
No, just get the reps in, show up, put in the time. Don't wait for inspiration or the perfect conditions, just do it.
So it's about removing friction for the good habits, like we said, maybe adding obstacles for bad ones, but also just letting go of that pressure to do it perfectly right from day one.
Exactly right. Start before you feel ready. And the source strongly advocates for the start small approach. Begin any new habit with something that takes just 2 minutes or less.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Then, once that's established, you can gradually increase the difficulty or the duration.
Okay, like instead of saying, I'm going to meditate for an hour, just start with, I'll meditate for 2 minutes.
Exactly. Or instead of, I'm going to read War and Peace this week, just commit to reading one single page.
Right. Or learning one French word a day instead of aiming for fluency in a month.
Those tiny starts are genius because they lower the barrier to entry so dramatically. You can almost always find 2 minutes. It makes it easy to just begin.
Yeah, hard to argue with 2 minutes.
And the source also points out the power of doing certain one-time actions that make habits easier long-term, like investing in a better mattress for better sleep.
Ah, right. Set it and forget it.
Yeah, or permanently turning off phone notifications, deleting distracting apps or games, setting your phone screen to grayscale so it's less visually appealing. Things you do once that pay off repeatedly.
And automation definitely falls into this make it easy category too, right? Like setting up automatic transfers to your savings account. Or getting a regular organic vegetable box delivered so healthy food just shows up. Using software tools, maybe like Zapier, to automate repetitive digital tasks.
All great examples. You make the decision once, set it up, and then the habit basically happens automatically without you expending more willpower or making more decisions each time. It removes the friction.
Okay, makes total sense. So obvious, attractive, easy. Finally, step 4, make it satisfying.
Yes. And this one can be, well, perhaps the most challenging, because our brains are fundamentally wired for immediate rewards.
Right, we want the cookie now, not the benefit of eating healthy 6 months from now.
Exactly. The rewards of good habits, better health, more knowledge, financial security are often delayed, while the rewards of bad habits are often immediate.
So the trick is finding a way to feel good about the habit, somehow, in the moment or very soon after doing it, to bridge that gap.
That's the core idea. The source suggests various ways to build in that immediate satisfaction. One powerful example was the pay-it-forward method, like someone quitting smoking. And every day they don't smoke, they physically put the money they would have spent into a clear jar labeled Family Holiday Fund.
Ah, so you see the reward accumulating.
Yes. The future reward becomes more tangible, more visible, and directly linked to the daily sacrifice or effort. It makes the not smoking immediately satisfying.
And tracking habits. That's surprisingly effective for this too, isn't it? Just the simple act of ticking a box on an app or putting an X on a calendar.
They're hugely effective.
Or keeping a running word count if you're writing or logging your workouts. Seeing that streak grow, that visual progress, provides an immediate little dopamine hit. The sense of accomplishment.
Absolutely. That visual momentum is incredibly motivating. It proves you're showing up.
Yeah.
Because life happens, you will miss a day occasionally.
Inevitably.
The source offers a really crucial rule for recovery. Never miss twice.
Okay, so one day off is okay, but don't let it become a trend.
Exactly. Don't let one missed day spiral into 2 or 3 or a week. Just accept it happened and get right back on track the next day. Maintain the overall trajectory.
And then there's the power of accountability, which the source mentions.
Big one.
Having someone who kind of expects you to do what you said you would do, a friend, maybe a work colleague, a trainer, a coach, a mastermind group.
Right. Anyone who cares.
The source notes that just the potential pain maybe the slight embarrassment of having to admit you didn't do it can be a surprisingly strong motivator to actually get it done.
It really can. Knowing someone's going to ask you, hey, did you do that thing you committed to,
Yeah.
creates a kind of external pressure that can help solidify a new behavior,
Hmm.
especially before it becomes truly automatic and internally driven.
Okay. So bringing all this together then, applying these 4 steps make it obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying, and focusing on that identity shift. What does this really mean for you, the listener, right now?
Well, it means you have a practical framework drawn directly from this source material for consciously designing the small actions that make up your days.
Yeah.
You're not just letting habits happen to you.
You're taking control.
Exactly. By making the habits you want obvious, making them attractive, making them easy to start, and finding ways to make them immediately satisfying,
Hmm.
you dramatically increase the chances they'll actually stick.
And as you consistently repeat those actions day after day, you're not just, say, getting closer to your goals, like losing weight or writing a book. You are literally proving to yourself through your actual behavior the kind of person you are becoming.
That's the loop. Your actions shape your identity, and then your identity drives your future actions.
Yep.
Becomes self-reinforcing.
It's a really powerful concept.
Yeah, this deep dive into the source material, it really brings home the profound truth that's captured in its concluding statement, which is worth repeating. We are made up of the millions of tiny actions we take in our daily lives, often without even consciously knowing we're doing them. Change your habits, change your life. It sounds simple, maybe, but the implications are just enormous when you really unpack it like we've tried to do.
So based on everything we've just unpacked from this source material, maybe the question for you is, what tiny action, what 1% improvement might you start with today?